So today on Making It in Manufacturing Spotlight Series, I'm joined by JD Mowery, the president of the CDMO division at Bora Pharmaceuticals. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So great. And day 3, how are you feeling?
Excited. The shows had such great energy. I was in Barcelona a couple of years ago, and felt like it was really coming back. And this year's even more energy. It's been exciting.
No, it is crazy how big everything is, going from one hole to that. It's plenty of steps.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. It's been good fun. So, to start with, can you give our listeners a bit of an overview to your role?
Sure.
And Bora Pharmaceuticals as well?
Yeah. So, as Tom mentioned, I'm JD Mowery, president of the CDMO division here at Bora. My remit is around the small molecule oral solid dose, derms. We do ophthalmics and otics. We also do sterile fill finish. And we do that for both the biologics and the small molecule portions of Bora. Bora as a whole, we have 9 sites. The map behind you here shows them. We've got 5 of those sites are in Taiwan. The other 4 are in North America. 2 in the U.S. for small molecule, another in San Diego for large molecule, and then the site we acquired from GSK back in 2020 now. It is up in Mississauga, just outside of Toronto.
And what's your role as president of the CDMO division?
Yeah, so I have responsibility for the full P&L for the small molecule and the fill finish side of the business. So operations, sales, quality, they all report up through me. And then I report up to our group CEO, Bobby Sheng. And in between the two of us, we really run the organization together.
And you've been in the role, I think, for 12 months.
September 27th was my anniversary. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What has been your top priorities in the first 12 months?
Fill the sites. Really focused on driving capacity utilization around the network. Bora has also grown very quickly over the last few years. So looking at opportunities to go from a decentralized model to a centralized model where it's appropriate. We want our sites to be able to operate and have full control of their own P&Ls. But there's obviously some opportunities for scale to where we can synergize across those organizations.
With that growth over the past few years, what challenges have you faced scaling up the business?
Well, it's interesting, right? I mean, anytime you're bringing together different cultures, different ways of working, different entities, trying to get everybody on the same sheet of music is always a challenge. And then you couple that with some of the geopolitical challenges that have been going on across the organization, and just simply how fast we're growing. It's a great challenge. It's fun. The people here are so invested in what we do. We've rolled out our kind of our cultural effort around Bora Way, and really getting people to operate from a perspective of solutions first, and really treating each other with respect, but honestly focused on taking care of our customers. Taiwan's extremely well known for manufacturing excellence back in the semiconductor days and things like that. We have had the opportunity to take that and leverage it across the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, we've got on time and full deliveries that are north of 95% across all of our sites, and lot release times that are less than 60 days. So we're able to take that mindset and use it to take care of our customers as well.
And in the first 12 months, is there a particular moment where you've been most proud? Something an achievement?
There's been a few, actually. So I'm watching my team work together anytime we can get the group together, right? Because we're all over the world. So getting them together, watching them work and brainstorm and solve solutions or solve problems, that's always exciting to see. And then sitting in the room with my team with a customer. Very fortunate because our customer relationships are so strong. We've seen that this week here at CPHI, just how much they trust us. And how much they want to work with us. And even when you have to have a hard conversation, they're very, very respectful and excited, and they want to work with us and solve it together. So getting a chance to see the relationships that we've built and continue to build, those are obviously some very proud moments.
How do you build that trust?
Being transparent. I think from day one, right, it starts with the proposal process, and building that relationship with a customer, and making sure you get the hard conversations out of the way early. Because it's easy to do that then. Once there's money on the table or product on the line, you're trying to get something out the door, then it gets to be a bit more stressful. But if you've taken the time to nurture that relationship on the front end, it's much easier to have those conversations. And then just being real time with information and sharing it as quickly as you possibly can.
I know we mentioned the growth. There's been 3-4 acquisitions or expansions, I think, in biologics, sterile injectables. Crazy time to do. I think you did a lot of them all in quite a short space in time.
Sure, we did. Yeah.
So, is the one that particularly makes you excited that you can't have a favorite because as your children, you can't. But
that's twin boys, so I agree. Yeah. So it depends on the day. But no. So if you look at the Maple Grove USL acquisition back in April of 2024. That was huge. It gave us an opportunity to grow both sides of the business, so the commercial side as well as the CDMO side. It brought online for us an immense amount of capacity in the U.S., which turns out is become a premium today. So getting that site filled is obviously a high priority for us. I still believe the acquisition from Emergent for the sterile fill finish facility we made in August of 24 is huge. You look at what's happening in the marketplace. There's a lot of product that's being pushed out of some of these sites because everybody's chasing these large volume GLP-1s. And this facility is well equipped to serve some of those displaced customers. And they've got a fabulous track record. We serve hundreds of different customers, shipping to countries all over the world. Most recent FDA inspection, that facility had 0 483s. So what that site can become for the network, I think, is just kind of our first step into fill finish. And I'd expect us to grow that even more so.
No, exciting. And every acquisition has a story. It can sometimes be complex. It's a roller coaster of a ride. And can you talk us through what it's like to do some of them deals on the inside?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I've done M&A before I came here. And one of the things, Bobby is really, really good about is finding the right opportunities to bring in the right type of facility for our network. We focus on very high quality sites and people and the talent that are there because we want to have a good starting foundation. So we start with that. So we're very, very deliberate about our targets and really understanding what do we need, what's complementary to what we have. And what's a geography or a technology that we might want to go occupy, and we try to base that off as much market data and market intelligence as we possibly can. And then it really starts with getting to know the people and understanding who you're bringing into the network, how they're going to fit within the culture, and what's the best way to go about getting them kind of integrated into it is a very special place to work, and making sure we understand it from that lens, and then. You have to be very deliberate day in and day out. And it takes a long time. And an integration it goes on for a year, 2 years, before you kind of really feel like you've got your legs under you. I think about our site that's coming up on their 5-year anniversary up in Mississauga. And they're now one of our flagship sites. I point people to them all the time because they actually have such fabulous ways of working. They have an opportunity to teach even some of the legacy sites what good looks like.
Yeah. And having now multiple sites in different locations adds another complexity for a business with culture, standards, best practices. And what are some of the challenges now that maybe you're facing with having so many sites in different locations, geographies?
Yeah, it's interesting because my leadership team is also kind of spread out as well. Scheduling meetings, it seems simple, right? But scheduling meetings where we all have the appropriate amount of time to talk. And we're being fair to one another as far as time zones and such. And then it's me and expectations of myself is I spend a lot of time on an airplane, right? I want to be at my sites. I want to be near my teams and be able to spend time with them and understand what they're trying to solve. And then we're really good about when we have, opportunities for whether it's a sales workshop or a strategy workshop, hosting them from our sites. So we get a chance to go be there and be around teams.
And I know you've got a very strong operations background. Yeah. I think that's sort of your core if you come to from it. So you've led some of the biggest CDMOs and biopharma companies from that. So in your view, what does define operational excellence?
Yeah, as reliable, right? It's as a GM, I used to tell my teams, and I tell my GMs now, their sole purpose should be to create boring. Right. It should just be, there's plenty of other things to get excited about. We do amazing science. The technology is fantastic. We get to take care of patients all day long. But when it comes to execution, it should be as boring as possible.
Making it sound really sexy.
That's it. That should be a GM's dream, right? To really create repeatability, reliable, and customers can trust you.
Yeah, I think it feeds into that, right? I think as a CDMO with clients, you've got to be reliable. Ultimately, so that feeds into the DNA of how you run the site.
Absolutely.
It's going to really come through to the clients and service you provide.
Absolutely. And if you look at the biopharma industry and you compare it to the automotive industry or the computer industry, there's so much more outsourcing that happens outside of biopharma. And a lot of that has to do with we're still earning the trust of the biotech and pharmaceutical companies. And that's on us as an industry. And you do that by doing what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, and with a very, very high level of quality.
And from a scalability standpoint, you'd have been in a number of businesses that you'd have scaled quite quickly. Well, what are some of the challenges in scaling operations within a CDMO?
So you're not selling your own product, right? You're selling know-how and a team and access to that knowledge. That's the people piece, right? Is making sure you retain and grow and develop and bring in top talent, and you stay true to your values and who you are. It's very easy when you have to go scale up and you have to go hire 100 people to let your standards slip. And we can't do that, right? Because the moment you accept a standard that's below what you really believe the bar is, you've set a new standard. And that's really, really tough to recover from in the long run. You're better off to take your time and be very deliberate about it and stay true to who you are.
Smart. I think it's quite, I imagine, quite difficult at some points because the pressures from customers and boards and etc. It's definitely a balancing act, I think, to get that. And I think
it is,
people are at the heart of the business.
Yeah,
they're the ones and hardest to find, hardest to keep. And how do you consider quality, speed, or flexibility? So these are you've got to get all.
Absolutely, it has to start with quality, without any doubt. I mean, because most of the time, if you see somebody kind of shortcut quality, it's going to kill the timeline because you're going to end up with rework and that, kind of recovering from that. The way I view this and the way I talk to my teams about this is, right, we've all got loved ones that are taking, different medicines, whether it's an over the counter or a prescription medicine type of thing. We have to understand that we would want somebody to be comfortable taking something out of one of our facilities. So it has to start there. Now, understanding the regulations and being subject matter experts and understanding kind of what those boundaries are, that allows you to be flexible, but you need to be flexible within that box from a regulatory perspective. And you have to be able to operate in a state of control.
And with the current geographical, political tariffs around the world that we're all facing, I guess, how do you balance cost, speed, and quality and factoring that into, I guess, decision making?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we're fortunate because we actually occupy APAC, US, Canada, and Canada gives us a gateway into Europe as well for distribution. I think the regionalized supply chains are going to be something that's probably going to be around for a while. And in many ways, it makes a lot of sense. COVID taught us that a little bit because of just shipping constraints and things like that. This is just another iteration of it. So we're trying to make sure we understand the impact on our customers. We're partnering with them. If there is impact on the, from a tariffs perspective, how we can be smart about sharing some of that with them as long as those tariffs are impacting them. But right now, it's been a very collaborative discussion with our customers. We've seen some schedule changes and things like that around potential tariff dates. And then just understanding capital investments, what that looks like. We're going to be doing some of that as well in our existing facilities, especially in the US. It's just trying to partner with our customers and understand what's going on with them and be part of sharing some of that risk.
It sounds like the partners are critical within that process with that supply chain.
Absolutely.
So how do you identify and pick the right partners from a Bora perspective?
Yeah, so it's again, it all goes back to culture, right? I mean, from a customer perspective to our people perspective to the vendors we work with, we want to make sure that we have people we can trust, we can rely upon, and just like we expect to be able to be that for our customers, we need that from our vendors. So as we develop those relationships with them, it's really no different than our customers coming out and selecting us.
And looking ahead to the next 5 years plus, how do you see the CDMO market evolving?
Yeah, it's interesting. I believe the evolution has started, and I think we will be at the forefront of driving in a few things. I believe the day and age of competitive, kind of cutthroat fighting for business, I truthfully believe it's got a place in the past. There are too many patients laying at hospital beds, waiting on too many different modalities and treatments that have not made it to market. I think it's got to operate as more of an ecosystem and allow different industries and different customers, as well as their partners, to focus on the things that they're good at, to allow those things to evolve. And then, I mean, we all talk about AI, right? There's no denying what's coming with it. I think that's something we've got to embrace and use that to amplify our workforce so that they can be as effective as possible in taking care of our patients and customers.
And are there any new technologies, process innovations that A, you're most excited about, or B, that you think are going to be really game changing?
I think it's AI. I mean, it's how we get AI integrated into every day, every facet of the way we work. If you look, I spoke about this in March at DCAP. The globalization of AI is happening faster than the internet happened, faster than electricity. So we've got to make sure we understand the regulations and constraints around it, but how do we harness it, right? And really truly make everything as efficient as possible. There's an opportunity to remove an immense amount of waste from our processes. And when you start talking about cost of goods and access to medicines for patients and things like that, and time to patient, I think it will probably have, if not the largest impact, probably one of the largest impacts on the industry we've ever seen.
Are there any incentives, any things that you're doing at Bora that you could share with AI?
So we've actually got a couple of things going on. So this year we started that journey with a company that was helping us to do some of that integration. And then also out of Taiwan, we're actually going to be doing it at a corporate level moving forward. And we're considering even bringing in somebody to lead the AI journey for us so that we can continue to grow the business. So we really want to be at the forefront of AI within the industry. So we've got a pretty high tolerance for risk when it comes to being disruptive in a positive manner. So we want to make sure we take advantage of kind of our entrepreneurial spirit that Bobby has brought into the organization and carry that forward.
No, amazing. And yeah, looking back then over your career, I guess, so are there any specific lessons that you've learned that you think defines your leadership style and how you are today and key moments?
Yeah. So for me, I get out of bed every single day, making sure my team has the best possible chance of being successful. Understanding that if we do that, then we can take care of our customers. And at the end of the day, the patient benefits from that. For me, the most profound organizations and teams that I've been part of have been the ones that are truly dialed in on the patient. It's very easy to get caught up on the business side of this, and we all have a business to operate. But if you can start with the patient in mind first, the other things follow suit. But that's it, taking care of your people and understanding the patient.
Amazing. And the next few years for Bora, what's
more growth?
Yeah, we'll go for any particular new locations, modalities.
We're very opportunistic, right? So it depends on what's going on within the industry, the market intelligence, as I mentioned before, what it shows us that we might need to go do. We've hired our first BD rep in Europe. So we want to make sure we understand how we can serve that market more than we have. We've seen it here at CPHI, ton of interest. So that's a fantastic piece of it. So it could be geographical. I do believe that, we've got some places within our network where we have current technologies that we probably don't have enough capacity. So we may be looking to add some of that. And then we're always paying attention to what's new next modality. And then a similar mindset on the biologics side of the doing.
No, amazing. No, look, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet us. From speaking today, there's no doubt your passion and drive. I think that your patience and the values you've got driving within your team is going to lead to success. So I'm confident that the next few years will achieve what we're going to do. So,
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks a lot, baby. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.